Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to 31 Days of Cutfiles with MK and Janet. Today I am doing a layout using grungy corner that MK came up with. I really like it. It's got this chain and some tools, and you could use it for all kinds of stuff, some household repairs, some, you could use it. It doesn't even have to be tool related, but I'm going to use it kind of like a shelf in the bottom right hand corner of my photo, and it does, I am letting the whole thing show, like I'm not tucking most of it away, and I am going to go ahead and just grunge it up a little more with some shimmers. And I'm using the same ones I used a couple of days ago. I think I'm using Green Acres, which is a little bit more brown than green, and I'm using Thunderstorm, which is kind of a grayish silver, more towards gray. But I'm going to go ahead and grunge it up and give it a lot of depth of color here. I don't want it to be perfectly all one shade. I want it to have lots of highs and lows in the colors so that there are dark spots and light spots. It is still a little bit too light for what I'm looking for, so I'm going to go back and put a little bit more on and go a little bit thicker or darker with my pigment, using less water and more pigment, and I'm liking how that's looking. And then I'm going to add a little bit of walnut stain just to give even more depth of color, and keeping it in this grayish, this brown grayish kind of a color, if that's a thing. The paper that I'm using is, again, from 49 and Market, using more of their Nature Study collection. And I did actually add a little bit of black soot just to even give it darker areas, and since I've already got the gray on there a little bit, I'm going to add more of that dark soot or black soot distress ink just to kind of make it even darker. And then I think I'm going to go over it again with some walnut stain using the ink applicator foam just to darken up the outer areas, the edges basically. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I'm just going to ink the edges up to give it even a darker look. And I really do like the way that it looks when it's all done. I do have to wait till it all dries before I can use the ink applicator tool. As you can see there, I am also doing a little bit of splattering because I really want it to kind of have a mottled, worn look. And I really like how that looks. If you do the splattering while it is still wet, it kind of bleeds into it and gives it a mottled look rather than like a dotted look. Hopefully that makes sense. If you don't want it to kind of bleed into the background, then you need to wait till it's completely dry, and then it won't bleed as much. It's just like a paper towel, you know. Once it's wet, it's just going to keep soaking in. But if it's dry, it can take the water better and not just spread out. Hopefully that made sense. Maybe not a paper towel. Maybe like watercolor. If you add some water and drag the water down the page, that is going to be the least path of resistance for the other ink that you put on. And so that's kind of the same thing. If there's water already on it, it's just going to keep bleeding. Hopefully that is a better explanation. I don't know where my mind is today, you guys. It's completely off. So doing my best here. So I've got that all inked up. I really like how it looks. I'm still using more of the Nature Study collection, using the cluster kit and the page kit, not breaking into any other embellishments. We are going to be using some of those embellishments in Kit Conspiracy in November. So these are all items that we're not using for Kit Conspiracy. These are all separate, completely different items. So I am tucking in some different pieces. The wood round there is actually I got that off of a give and take table from a friend. I don't know. I have a lot of different pieces here that are mostly from Nature Study, but I am also sitting next to a friend of mine at a crop, and I was looking for a wooden stump or a wood round to put in the bottom right hand corner. She happened to have this wooden stump piece from Brutus Monroe, I believe. You're going to see the packaging here in just a moment, so I'm pretty sure it's Brutus Monroe. She had the stamp set and the dies. So there's a stump and two branches, and so I went ahead and just stamped that using some walnut stain. Now I don't have all of my supplies with me because I'm at a day crop when I created this. I know it seems like I go to a lot of day crops, but In all reality, this particular day, I actually did like 4 or 5 layouts. So when I say I'm at a day crop every time, it's not that I went to 5 day crops. I just got several layouts done in one day. So I took that stamped image of the stump, and then I used a piece of foam and my stylus, and I kind of made some wood grain texture from the back, and then I just went over it a little bit with my distress ink again to give it a little bit more wood grain texture. So that's going to be in the bottom right there, bringing that wood down to the bottom. And basically what this picture is, it's my husband's truck, the bed of his truck, and then behind it is a log splitter, and it was at our cabin. The story I have to tell about this is it was at our cabin and it got stolen. So that was lovely. So we no longer have a log splitter up there. But yeah, I thought I would document that fact because it would sure be a lot easier to get a lot of the work done if we still had it up there, but we don't. So I thought I would just, document that here for posterity. It's kind of sad. Luckily, there wasn't a lot of other stuff that was stolen. It was mainly this and I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 other items that were not super high ticket items. So anyway, that's what happens when you're not at your property very often throughout the year, We have also gone up there and had squatters right by our front gate, and we've had to have them removed as well. So the perils of being out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I have pulled out some of the mushrooms to put in this bottom right hand corner. I have also pulled out one of the flying, I don't know that that's a butterfly, maybe it's a moth, I'm not sure, but one of these flying little insecty things. And it's going on this layout too. I'm not really sure how they categorize moths and butterflies because that's not my area of expertise, but I do know there are some moths that look like butterflies and vice versa. So this bug is going up in this upper right hand corner, and we have some crazy bugs up there, you guys. We have some longhorn beetles that are like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches long, and I do have a kind of funny story about that. One time we were up there when my kids were really little. We had a friend up there with us with her little boy, and the kids had all kinds of toys out, and they had some of those fake bugs out. And we woke up in the night, and my friend and I had heard something moving around in our cabin, and we woke my husband up, and it was in fact one of these longhorn beetles, and he could not find it for quite a while. He thought it was one of the toys, and it was not the toy. It was actually the actual living bug. So we actually captured it, and it's kind of dehydrated in a jar up there because people don't believe us that they're so big. And I'm sure in other parts of the world or in other parts of the country, you guys probably have huge bugs too. But in my neck of the woods where I actually live, I live in a city, and our bugs are not that big unless you're in like some kind of weird cockroach infested area. But we don't have flying bugs that are that big, unless you're like at one of the parks in the area and they've got the tarantulas on display at the ranger station. I don't know. So it's pretty uncommon to see that in our neck of the woods. So when we take friends up there, they're always like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's a real bug. Anyway, in the meantime, I have now done a bunch of embellishing and gotten totally sidetracked. I am going to use some of this black thread that actually came in this let's see, I think it came in the cluster kit, not the page kit. I could be wrong, I could be reversed, but I wound a bunch of that up because I didn't actually bring any thread with me, but I wound a bunch of that up and I'm tucking it in underneath these embellishment areas. I like how that's looking. I'm also trying a piece of this this like leather or faux leather stuff. I was going to put it through the top of that little hanging heart thing, but I don't end up using it because it is too chunky. So I had some leftover faux flare from the Simple Stories Lakeside, put a couple of those on there, and that is it, you guys. I did ink everything up in some either walnut stain or black soot. I think walnut stain actually. And the background paper is from the Spectrum Sherbert collection. Thanks so much for watching. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. I will put links to any of the products that I use that I might know about down there as well in case you're interested in those. And thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.